Hey, what's up? I'm Courtney, also known as Self-Care Creature, and I work with creative individuals to help you deepen your intuition, raise your self-worth, and spread your awareness so that you can live a truly fulfilled and empowered existence. All right, I'm overthinking this. So many people want to know how New York was, and I've been kind of sitting with myself and trying to decide that, and now I was like, let me take some notes about what was good and what my reflections are, and then now I'm like, fuck it, that's not how I record my videos most of the time. I need to do off the cuff, seat of my pants style, because that's my style. New York was a really great experience this year, particularly because of all the challenges that were also presented. You know, everything was operating at half capacity. It was completely safe, and following COVID regulations, we had an inspector that came out, I don't know, about once a week on average or so. I never personally saw the guy, but I heard that they were there often, and I don't know if it was a guy. But everything was up to code, and we were doing great. We were operating at about half capacity, which means that we also had half the amount of staff that we usually do. So a huge challenge was the opportunity to know what it feels like to be spread really thin, especially in a self-care community where you're encouraged to communicate that and still take care of yourself and do all that kind of stuff. There's a part of me that feels really vulnerable, embarrassed, and maybe even ashamed that I had that opportunity. So let's talk about that for a second and just get it out there. I love addressing insecurities. Because I'm like, who the heck, on one hand, I'm like, who the heck do I think I am, being able to just completely tap out of the chaos in the world and go to this amazing, beautiful space. I also, you know, this has been my life practice. This was my 4th summer out there, and as I continue on this path, I understand that it really is immensely important if I want to be able to hold space for healing and growth and hardship with my clients and my friends and my family, and this is my path as a growth-oriented life. I have to be able to tap into really sacred, monastic type spaces where you have the opportunity to not have to think for yourself when you're just in service mode, and you get to tap out from the big shit going on in the world. But it's never actually tapping out. I wasn't on Instagram, and I wasn't reading the news. That's how I am coming down on myself, is tapping out. But it's not that I didn't talk about big world events with all of the guests. It's not that all of the guests at this retreat center that I work at come from all over the world, and many people weren't able to make it this year, but many people were, and it's a very large, diverse group of people across the board, and I feel immensely grateful for that. I had my 7-day silent meditation, my first one, session, and I have to be completely honest, it was really blissful. It was 1000% pure bliss mode, and it's I can recognize that I've been working really hard to let myself to be in this space and to cultivate this, and over all these years, learning to be comfortable with myself and my edges and the things that come up and how to be with myself. And then I've found meditation and sitting in meditation and understanding, especially over this last year, really the specialness of sitting and being and experiencing this moment of life with others. That's what we're doing in meditation. We're showing up together, and we're pausing, and we're experiencing the now moment together. And of course, there are so many different layers to life and ourselves that prevent us from really being able to tap into that space, but I've really had to take some time to slow down and be able to say I'm really proud of myself for being able to tap into that space this session. I really feel like all of these teachings in my life and my life path and whatever just kind of reached this pinnacle that for whatever reason in the middle of 2020, a really fucking hard year, I was just able to be completely blissed out. and just remember the beautiful gift of life. And I don't know if you're familiar with the Enneagram, but I'm an Enneagram type 7, the entertainer. And we our like life path and purpose, and I share this whether you know the Enneagram or not because it resonates with me so much, is that I just really I love life. I love life and thinking about existence and the miracle that is this. So I love nerding out on that stuff. I love getting caught up on that stuff, and I've been practicing that physically, mentally, emotionally, in my career path, in my personal life, and Sesshin was really an opportunity for me to just be in it, and to share in that with others who get it, and especially with my Zen master, my teacher, who has been practicing for like over 30 years. So it just feels really, really, really special. Probably way more than 30. I don't know for sure. But it just feels really special to be able to tap into that space. And I don't think I realized, I felt like I was diving into a shift while I was in New York, particularly the last 2 weeks when we were transitioning out of retreats and going into Sesshin. And, I was like, I feel like there's this flip going on, and I was really recognizing my capacity to be able to hold heavy things as well as light things, and being with myself and just noticing the energy of something, just feeling like there was like this flip going on. I don't know how else to describe it. And I'm realizing now, because I've been home for about exactly a month now, oh my gosh, it was a month yesterday, that it was, that New York was the calm before the storm. The calm before coming back to the storm that is the world we're living in right now, that is my daily life. And it's taken a lot of time to come back. It's, when you unplug like that and you really plug back into the real world out there, into nature, into each other, into connection, and you're away from your phone, you're away from your internet, you're away from all of the flood of sources in our world that are telling you how to think, act, and be constantly. So when I came back, I naturally was like, yeah, I want to watch movies, I want to smoke and eat all the food, and I want to be on social media, and it was just like pretty jarring for me. So I've been wading in little by little, trying to take my time, and I really do feel myself coming back and being excited to connect with my community again. But I'm also really noticing our community, let me say that, please. It's not just mine, it's ours. That's why you're here. We're doing this together. Now I lost my train of thought. That's okay. Let me just pause for a moment. Yes, I'm also really noticing, oh man, this happens to me all the time. I swear to God, I'm not even stoned. This is just my brain. Seriously? Okay, I'm also really noticing my desire to not be a part of such an artificial vibe that we are upholding in our day-to-day lives. I want to be plugged in more to that real world, to nature, to connection. And I don't want to be on my phone all the time. And I mean, I was already preaching this a bunch, but now all of a sudden for whatever reason, there's like a whole new layer of clarity. And so I'm excited that you're here and that we can explore this together. I'm just taking it in because it just feels, part of me is like, how is it different from anything that I've already been doing? And it may not be any different, but it feels different. And I just wanted to be able to communicate that. So, as always, be gentle with yourself, be with yourself. There were several times coming back over this last month that I was like, wow, I'm really surprised I found myself here. Like, I didn't realize that I would be really like smoking so much and watching a bunch of TV and just like struggling with sliding right back into my daily life, because I really felt out at the retreat center, I hadn't smoked in a month, I'd been eating well, I was feeling great, which are all motivational things, but it wasn't enough to be the tripwire for my trauma response, for my nervous system. Like, we have all of these unseen things going on in our body all the time, and that's part of the self-care lifestyle, is just understanding that that kind of shit happens, and there's so many different factors and things going on at once in our world and our life that you may not ever be able to like directly pinpoint something, and we have to surrender to this not knowing. Like, life is one great mystery, and we really, part of a self-care lifestyle practice is surrendering to that and being grateful that, you know, you don't know all of the systems in your body that are taking place for you to be alive. Like, it's beyond comprehension for our brains, but you can still be appreciative of, damn, like, you got a body and it's working. You woke up today. Little things like that. And it's just a reminder. It's interesting because I feel like one of the things my other teacher had said before I left the grounds was she had shared something about me not wanting to be a failure. She was joking about me not being able to uphold my practice or something at home like that, and a couple others were like, whoa, like, careful. And she was like, no, I just don't want her to, like, be a failure and be hard on herself and things like that. And that's what really stuck with me. And I can confidently say I'm not a failure. And I want you to believe the same for yourself. And no matter where you find yourself, be able to support yourself and be there for yourself. Like, wow, this is where I'm at. And I think it's because once we allow ourselves to start exploring, we realize, especially as a person who has swung between all or nothing extremes my entire life, we realize that we can't live in those extremes. And even if you are vegging out and doing things that don't necessarily make you feel well or aren't for your highest good, like, that will fizzle out and you'll calibrate back to where you want to be and who you want to be. And it's just like this awareness and checking in with yourself. That's really, really what it's about, and learning how to be gentle with yourself. And that comes through working through a lot of layers because, you know, you have to figure out who you are, what you believe in, what you stand for. And in that, you also have to realize what you've been taught, what is yours that you didn't ask to carry. We often find ourselves in places that we don't want to be due to community circumstances, societal, systematic circumstances, familial, is that the word? Family, you know, wherever we are in our lineage and ancestor lines. So I'm here, and I'm feeling really grateful, and I'm taking it one day at a time, because also 2020 is a time machine. I don't know if you realize that. I think we're all in the time machine. I haven't talked to one person that was like, no time machine here. I have not talked to one freaking person that said that. I will say that when I was out in New York, time slowed down. And I know that it was because I was very present and intentional every single day. And out here in this world, the world that we live in, we are not slowing down. And there's so many things going on in the world right now that we feel there's like an immense pressure, and it is making time speed up. And time doesn't even exist. Like, look that up. It's so I'm leaning into that a ton. Time doesn't even exist. There's the same amount of time every single day. It can be overwhelming to feel like you have to balance it all and figure it all out. And it can also be empowering to know that you're not alone, that you're figuring it out, that you can take a breath, to learn how to communicate and understand that you have support systems and you have options. I think that's a wrap for now. Wow, that really came out better than I anticipated. Thank you for watching. If this resonates, definitely please leave a comment. Let me know. I like communicating with the community and interacting. This, don't let this be a one-way channel on the interwebs, because that's just awkward for me. I'm sitting here talking to my computer. I want there to be people out there. And you can also share the video if you want, but that's up to you. Thanks for being here.